There we
Test one,
go.
two, three.
We're good. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for
Good.
asking. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm just. I realised that I'd scheduled this with you. I don't know if you're keeping up with the World Cup at the moment, but England have got their first knockout game today,
Oh, wow.
and I'd scheduled this with you. I was like, I can't cancel to go and watch the football, but
Oh,
it actually sat right over all of my students, so I was kind of half watching it on my phone.
ah,
But yeah,
well,
there we go.
stay away from social media, and you can catch the replay or whatever, and be
Yeah,
surprised.
no, I was watching the result come in on my phone, but yeah,
Ah,
it was. I don't know if you keep up with football or soccer, but it was typical England. So
we our family is a LA Dodger baseball fan, and that's kind of
yeah,
like where we end. But
okay,
I know it's an exciting time. Some of my bandmates are super into it,
okay,
and yeah, like that. So
yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, I tell you what, I actually went to a who did we go and see? We went to see a ball game when we were in New York. It was
probably
it
the
was the
best.
it was the Yankees against the Dodgers, and we
Oh
we
wow!
managed we managed to we scored these tickets in a bar just outside the stadium. No, I'm sorry. No, it
Wow!
was Wrigley. It was Wrigley Field. So it was the Cubs against the Dodgers, and me and my wife we'd scored these tickets at a bar. They have the little hutch, and there's a lady giving out tickets, and we bought these tickets. We walked up to the stadium. They beeped the tickets. They scanned them. They're like they're fake. We're like,
Oh
oh
my
shit.
God!
We go back. We go back to the bar. We go up to the little hutch where the little lady is, and we said, look, they've scanned the tickets, and they said they're fake. And she went, give me 2 minutes. she She closed the shutters, disappeared, ran outside. We're like, she's doing a runner. So we followed her out, and
Oh my God!
she went up to somebody in the streets, and I saw her wave the tickets, and the guy literally pulled out a wedge of tickets, flicked through them, and pulled two out. And went, there you go, give you those. Gave us the tickets. We were on second base,
Also, they
right?
were like
Yeah,
at the
yeah. They were.
end,
Yeah,
they were
they
legit.
Yeah, so we were sat next to the photographers. I think it was second base because
Oh my
third base is right in the middle of the outfield, isn't it? Or
Yeah, I mean,
maybe it was first. I can't remember. But we
yeah,
were on a base right next to
yeah.
the
First, you
photographers.
must have been on first or third. There's nobody next to second base, but yeah.
Right, okay, must have been
And
first then.
so you said Cubs and Dodgers, but that you
Yeah,
meant the Mets or the Yankees, right?
no, we
Or
were
did
in
you?
Wrigley Field.
Oh, in Wrigley Field in Chicago. Very good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Right.
and anyway, I got chatting to someone who was sat next to me, and he said that's the owner of the Dodgers sat behind us. And we're like, oh shit,
Oh
okay.
my God! Wow.
So yeah, that was quite a story.
Yeah, that's a cool field too. That's awesome.
It's a lovely field. I've been there a couple of times. I think I said to
Oh,
because
very good.
my wife's from New York and we've got friends that live in the States in Chicago, and I said,
Oh,
if
very.
I moved and I lived here, I think baseball would be my game.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think it's the
Yeah.
only game where the defense has the ball first or something. Somebody told me that, and that's like,
Okay.
never thought about that. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great game. Yeah.
Great game. Great game. Great sport. Yeah. Anyway, music.
Yes.
So let's chat. Let's chat music. So what are you up to musically at the moment?
What am I up to musically? Well, my life has kind of always been like sort of this MacGyver
Hmm.
career. As of lately, in terms of live playing,
Hmm.
um, I play with the girls, Wilson Phillips. Been in that band for, gosh, almost 20 years, 18 years, something like that.
Okay.
And I really enjoy them. They're just a blast, and the shows are always super fun. And we used to work a lot more before the pandemic, but now it's a little bit more sparse.
Okay.
But they're ramping it up again, and it's beautiful. We
Nice.
just got back from a beautiful gig in Dallas where the crowd went crazy, and it's always like three or four generations of people that know all the
Yeah.
words and everything. It's great. And then
Awesome.
I also play in the Carl Verheyen band
Hmm.
uh, with my wife, who's a singer, Holly,
Yeah.
and we gig around town. We usually do a Pacific Northwest tour, Oregon, Seattle, Bainbridge Island. This year we're going to Vancouver. That's
Yeah.
coming up, and then we usually do a month in Europe each year. So
Okay.
that's really fun, really challenging, great, great musicians, great hang.
Mm, yeah.
Then I play in this band called Venice, which is an LA band that I don't know if you know of them. Do you?
No, no.
Okay, so the band Venice, they have several albums, and it's two sets of brothers, two of which
Yeah,
are the youngest brothers, I believe, of the Lennon sisters from back in the day. But this original band that I've been in since 2002 or 2003, or I'm sorry, 2022 or
yeah,
2023, um, they're just a blast, and they write these gorgeous original songs that sound like the Eagles or Crosby, Stills and Nash, kind of in that
yeah.
incredible vocal harmony.
Okay.
And yeah, they do well. And then they also they also have an alter ego band that does 70s and 80s top 40, and some 90s and beyond. But we do just just kind of doing the my 17-year-old set list,
Yeah.
but they do it well. So same group of guys, but it's just a different thing. And so yeah, but between those three, four entities, those are kind of my live gigs. And then I'm always, working with a singer or songwriter or whatnot. And
Yeah,
here and there doing a showcase or whatnot. And then I have my own recording studio here where I'm always
yeah.
working with a singer or songwriter, working on their album or demos or whatnot. So
Okay.
yeah,
Nice. That's cool. It's interesting because I had Carl on a couple of weeks ago,
yeah, he's
and
great.
he's such a lovely guy. I mean,
He's
I
so lovely, and he's just so incredible musician and just so fun and generous. We
yeah,
have a really good time, and we've become very dear friends. So
yeah,
very grateful. Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, he was telling us about his band, and he said, I got this guy called Troy who comes in, and he sort of does a little bit of everything, but he said the most talented person in the band is his wife. So I don't know if he's told her that. You can relay that back to
oh, I will. Yeah. And
That's cool.
I'm not going to argue.
We know better.
Yeah.
So how
Yeah.
did you
He,
get into
he makes
music?
he makes a great joke that like, Holly, the girl in the band is our HR department, and she makes all the claims. Yeah, we have a good time. So anyway,
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I was going to say. I just asked, like, how did you get into music? What was your first
like
kind of experiences
into
with music?
music. Well, the short story is I did kind of somewhat against my will as a kid took piano lessons, but I was
Yeah,
also into baseball and tennis and just riding bikes and whatever. This is when I was young, and then when I was kind of in my 12th year somewhere, 12 or 13, my aunt, my dear Aunt Nancy, gave me a guitar, and
hmm.
I said, hmm. So I just bought some. I bought a book, like a Mel Bay book or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
um, and I just started playing, and I figured out that I could figure things out, and
Hmm.
from then on, it was like 8 hours a day from the rest of my life. It's like, oh my god, this is awesome, So
Yeah.
kind of sports and whatnot took a back seat, and that was the end of that. It was funny because I didn't totally figure that out younger than that when I was taking piano lessons. But
Right.
after that, when I started getting into guitar and in the years following, it's like, well, I kind of took these lessons, and it would be silly to like give it up. So I should probably try to maintain
Hmm.
that as well, So
But
and that's been
it was guitar that you got the bug from it.
yes, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's. I find that really because we did almost. It was almost identical with my daughter. When
Oh
she was about
wow,
5 or 6, we set her up with piano lessons, and I couldn't make her practice. It was
yeah,
just she would dig her heels in. She would begrudgingly do it. We'd have to bribe her to do practice. She took a couple of the grades that they do here in the UK, and after about 3 years, I just said to my wife, I said, just let her go. Just
yeah,
leave it. Like, because I'd noticed that she listens to music the same way that I used to listen to music, the same way that my wife does. I said,
oh
eventually she'll connect the dots. But then at the moment, doing these kind of classical pieces and formal lessons, she's not made the connection between that and the music she listens to. And she had a guitar as well. Same thing, couldn't get to practice. And then one day she just picked it all up and she just started playing. And now she plays guitar, she plays a little bit of bass, she nicks all my guitars out of my studio, she takes them up to her room, and she's just there working stuff out with YouTube. And I'm like, there you go, see,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, she found her north with just kind of fiddling around and experimenting with different instruments and stuff. I love it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, it's
great.
great, it's great. And so
Wonderful.
how did you learn the music?
Uh, Mostly, aside from the, initial books that taught me a D and a G chord,
Yeah,
um, I got to insert that one little thing that, like, when I first started playing guitar, I learned how to tune it up and learned a few chords, and I like put band-aids on my fingers so that I could keep playing. And then, I played like a G chord or something, and it was at the exact same time that that a G chord or something was on the radio, and it like vibrated. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is
yeah,
awesome!"
yeah,
So, I learned from the Mel Bay books early on.
yeah.
Kind of, got some chord books for some easy, simple, John Denver songs and
Hmm.
Eagles and Doobie Brothers. So, this kind of thing music that I already liked. And then after high school, after playing in some top 40 bands and this and that, in lieu of like a traditional college, I went to the Dick Grove Music School for three and
Hmm.
a half years over the course of 5 years. And that was like immersive, intense, theory, playing, sight reading, playing in ensembles and big bands
Yeah,
and all sorts of styles and everything like that. And studied composition and arranging and all of that. And so that was kind of, and all the while I was kind of working. I got into the corporate band circuit and got my
yeah,
repertoire together and all of that kind of stuff. And that's in my kind of like, 19, 20, 21, 22, kind of right in that age area.
yeah,
And just kind of been in it ever since,
yeah.
figuring
That's cool.
yeah, yeah.
What are your thoughts? I don't know if you keep abreast of things like this, but what are your thoughts on modern guitar learning, modern music schools? I don't know if you do any like, lessons in classes, or do you do master classes, or do you get invites down?
I've done a couple of things where I've like taught at the music school in Pasadena. I've taught a course on country guitar,
Hmm.
and just kind of over the years, kind of some sporadic private lessons.
Yeah,
Um, I I mean, I have a great respect for the many methods that are taught. I mean, there's more than one way to the top of the mountain, as it were.
yeah,
Um, I tend to gravitate towards the Dick Grove method when I'm teaching music theory as it relates to music, jazz, and as it relates to the guitar, as it relates to the keyboard and whatnot. Mostly with private students in that regard.
yeah.
But I have a great respect. I mean, there scales and modes and whatnot have many names. They're all correct. It's just whatever way sticks with you. The method that I learned at the Dick Grove School has always stuck with me, and I feel like I use that knowledge every day. It was just an
Mm,
incredible time for me. um, for me as a 17, 18-year-old kid out of high school, it was like that method and that way of teaching theory and music um, was like rocket fuel. It's like, okay, I might not be the most badass bebop player or whatever at
mm,
that time, but I now know the formula, and I have the rest of my life to figure it out. You
yeah.
know, what scales to play, how to analyze a chord progression, how to improvise over these changes and whatnot. It's up to me
Mm,
to figure it out, but I'm not guessing. So
yes.
anyway, that's kind of my story, my method, and I
Okay.
know there are many methods. Some people who are educators don't particularly like the notion of like, well, this scale goes over this chord or whatever, but that worked for me. And of
Yeah.
course, it's up to me to spend the rest of my life doing that and injecting my own soul and personality into these more academic concepts, but
Okay.
you know,
Could you like walk us through you said like the Dick Grove method? Could you tell us a little bit about it?
I could. How much time? Uh,
we got all evening, so
I would say for me, and the Dick Grove school had many programs. I mean, they had a composition and arranging program, which was kind of their flagship, and I went through that. They had a film scoring program, um, and they had all kinds of ensembles and sight reading courses and conducting classes and all kinds of a vocal program,
hmm
guitar program, keyboard program, etc. The main rocket fuel that I got was their harmony course.
okay,
And in brief, what it was like, you know, in aside from film music, which kind of anything goes, in just in terms of pop, jazz,
yeah,
funk, bossa nova, in terms of all these styles. First of all, there's really only three kinds of music. There's blues, there's
hmm
251 music, and there's modal music. And he had this whole system of what he called chord families. Like there's this type of chord, and these are the appropriate scales that go over these kinds of chords. And there were basically 10 of them. And
yeah,
these are just like bare bones rules that for me, a 17-year-old kid, I was like, oh my God, I get it. I get it. I know I have the rest of my life to practice all this in 12 keys and all 10 chord families
yeah,
and
yeah,
blah. And then after that, rules are meant to be broken, but
yeah,
these are the foundation, no guesswork. And so he had these, I want to say 10 chord families basically. And here
hmm
are the scales that go over this one. Here. And this is it's so it broke down to like, how is a chord functioning
yeah,
within chord progression, and here are the appropriate scales that you can put over these chords, and as the chord progression is moving along. And it just worked for me. I was, and I have learned, from talking to other people that went to Musicians Institute or
yeah,
Juilliard or whatever, that they have this, it's the same thing, but it's just by a different name. And the
yeah,
way that Dick Grove condensed it into just this, you know a couple of I mean, he has books, but it could be really written down on a couple of pages
yeah.
of, a lifetime of information. That just kind of rocket fueled me, as I started to go out into the gigging world and recording session world and all of that. So,
Yeah. Was there any particular penny drop moment where you're like, "Oh my god, this everything falls into place now"?
well, it was literally that. It was literally, I mean, in this specific case, it was, I believe it was his Harmony 3 course or whatever, and
Yeah,
he had a book, and I mean, it's hard for me to remember, but because it was so long ago. But I feel like all of that knowledge could have really been rendered down into a 2 or 3 pages. But the workbook, we had to write everything in every key and the scales in every key, and so that's why
yeah.
it was this thick, versus just the
Couple of
bottom line.
pages. Yeah.
But
Well, that's your tuition fee, though, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah, exactly. That's why we were there, to just kind of really. It's like learn. It was like learning a language,
Yeah.
basically. But that whole thing really, really excited me and opened me up. And then it also, in the course of learning about harmony and how a chord functions and how the scales go over it, and that was tremendous for my ear training. In my 20s, just
Yeah.
I was a guy that dug, the Eagles, Doobie Brothers, some Earth, Wind and Fire, and all the, and so much more. But then it really opened my eyes up into the jazz world, So,
Yeah.
and I could hear it. It's like, oh, well, that's a melodic minor from the flat nine of that chord, and that's a
Yeah.
Lydian
Yeah.
mode, and that's a, whatever. So,
No, nice. It's cool. I mean, I remember when I did music college. There was like the biggest penny drop moment was when we were linking chords from the first fret all the way up to the 12th fret. And I mean,
mm,
they refer to it as the cage system. I was like, and then they
yeah,
were like, right, so here's the chord shape, here's the arpeggio, here's the pentatonic, and then here's the scale. I'm like, and everything fits within these 4 or 5 frets. I was like,
yeah.
oh.
I love
Oh.
it. I love that. Yeah.
And the one thing that they really drove home this is how you make really, really interesting, like, second guitar parts. If you're
Oh,
sitting if
wow.
you're sitting over a acoustic guitar, G, E minor, D, and C, you don't
Yep.
have to play the same. You can play the same shit
Yeah.
elsewhere. You can make up these little cool little lines and stuff, and then that's the money maker.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you're not just limited to playing cowboy chords. You have
exactly.
all
Yeah,
these
yeah,
positions that you can do stuff and then find little licks and things
yeah.
within.
Yes, yeah. And that was just like,
Yeah.
wow. And then I try and teach it to my students, and just doesn't seem to land. Maybe I'm not delivering it well enough. I don't know,
Nah.
but I am fighting against YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. So so the other thing, like, do you find with learning music things like Instagram or YouTube or TikTok? Do you think they're like having a net positive or a net negative?
I feel like that whole internet universe is what you make it. I mean,
Mm,
there's a lot of you know haystack to deal with before you find the needle. But I mean, I think there are some valuable things. I mean, I've used it before to just kind of explore different flat picking techniques,
yeah,
and because for example, I come from I'm of the universe of mixing and matching, picking and hammer-ons and pull off. I'm not I'm not that guy that can double pick everything like
hmm,
and so I'm curious about that. So I've because I want to improve in that way.
yeah,
I'm a bit more of a melodic kind of come from the Larry Carlton, Lee Ritenour school of a little bit more. I try to use the guitar as a voice,
yeah,
but it's just amazing. These guys that can, that
mm,
and just if I want like a hammer-on technique or something like that, I'll find somebody on YouTube. And it's
yeah,
astonishing. I mean, there's 12-year-olds that are just
yeah. I know,
breaking, breaking records and whatnot. But
I
um,
know. It makes you want to give up.
well,
Yeah,
I have my story. I have my style. I'm
yeah,
proud of my recordings, and that's my true voice.
hmm,
I think that people can smell bullshit a mile away when somebody tries to, um, do something that's out of their true north or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I think it's less difficult to spot the bullshit on YouTube because everything can be edited and tailored, but as
true.
soon as you're up on stage, that's when
Yeah,
the bullshit can get exposed really
yeah.
quickly.
The rubber hits the road. So,
Exactly, that was the yes. What? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, how about AI? What are your thoughts on AI? Because that seems to be taking up everybody's time at the moment.
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Now, are you talking about AI in general or as it relates to music?
Let's start with music. We can
Okay.
we can go down that well later.
Yeah. Well, um, on one hand, at the moment, the technology is rather frightening. And, when I hear people generating songs from like Suno or
Hmm.
similar programs, it's to my ears, I can almost, you know, 90% of the time I can hear it. It's like it's too perfect. It's too sterile.
Hmm.
Um, I'm actually working with a gentleman who's having me uh, take stuff that he's generated from AI that he's
Yeah.
written original lyrics to, and then he's broken out the stems, meaning the
Yeah.
individual
Yeah.
tracks, and replaced them with me being a human being, bass, guitar, keyboards, and
Yeah. Yeah.
orchestration and things like that. Um, at the moment, in my opinion, as of this writing,
Hmm.
the stems they sound grainy and pretty terrible. It's pretty frightening what they can do with the vocals at the moment. Um, beside the fact that they're just so perfectly in tune, and
Yeah.
oftentimes the AI interprets a lyric and a prompt of a style or whatever, and sometimes the vocal track is like 2.5 octaves or something like that for a
Mm.
baritone singer. It's like nah, you
Mm.
know. so so it's frightening, but I know it will get better and more convincing. There's reason to be concerned, but then there's also inspiration to kind of lean into it and figure
Hmm.
out our place, with it, because it's not going away.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think it's just another tool that musicians are going to have to learn how to use, similar to drum machines when they dropped in the market in the 80s?
well, as far as being a productive, useful tool, I can see it being, you know, somewhat of a lazy sketch pad for songwriters.
Yeah.
Um, Me being a musician all my life, I can hear when something is, a computer project versus a live band that's kicking
Mm.
ass, or you know, yeah. So I don't know. I feel like it's just going to get better, but we just have to figure out a way to lean into it. Right now, I can just see it as, uh, okay, it's a useful sketch pad for somebody who has like writer's block or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, I've asked this to a bunch of people, and everybody's kind of saying the same thing. It's just we just have to kind of wait and see. We just kind of feel like we're just circling the drain at the moment, and we're not sure.
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, I'm thinking back to the time when, I'm old enough to remember when like the ARP Omni came out, and
Mm.
in like, for example, I believe it was in Las Vegas, where it was like, okay, well, anytime a show uses a string synthesizer, you have to at least hire, as per union rules,
Yeah,
so many string players or whatever, because people were freaking out.
yeah,
And of course, we were freaking out with drum machines, as you
yeah,
mentioned.
yeah.
Um, I don't, I don't know exactly the way to make friends with it. I'm sure that
Mm.
it will expedite some projects and such. If somebody's writing, under a deadline to write for a off Broadway musical or something like that, and they need a song about blah blah blah.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
still the Wild West. It's
Yeah,
still,
absolutely. I mean, do you have any thoughts about it being taught in colleges, particularly like I know Berkeley have an AI course. I don't know if it's a writing course. I
well,
don't know.
what do you know about that? I mean, I don't know. When you say writing, what does that mean?
Well,
Like writing?
from what I've ascertained is that there is a course in Berkeley, and it is a course on how to utilize AI to write music.
Hmm. Now, do you know if that's like generating a song in 15 seconds, or learning how to, like, any
That I
kind of
don't know. I haven't scratched much past what I read
I see. I
briefly
see.
in an article,
Yeah.
but it's
Um,
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I always like Berkeley was always the like the pinnacle of music
mhm.
education, and so when you
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
things like now you're going to be learning how to write and compose using AI, it's like, well, is that just learning how to prompt better?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
So
I would hate to see, um, AI used in lieu of using your brain, you
yeah.
know, versus knowing how to do it. But
Mm.
I just don't think there's any substitute for, the proper theory and education.
Yeah.
Whatever, in whatever lane you pick,
Mm.
or
Yeah.
instrument or whatever.
Yeah, I saw something on the thing was this afternoon where they're just the phrase "practice makes perfect" seems to have disappeared these days. Nobody really wants to
Yeah.
practice anything because that means that they're not good at it, and if they're not good at it, they can't do it, and they get ridiculed. And I was like, oh, an interesting take. But yeah,
Uh, yeah, I would say that we don't know totally what the future of AI is in the arts,
mm,
but I guess my line in the sand is as long as it doesn't make people lazy.
yeah,
I know people that are lyricists that don't really sing or don't play an instrument, but they want to express themselves, and so
yeah,
I'm for that, I guess. But I understand totally that not everybody has money to produce a demo in a studio or and
mm,
all of that. So um, if it's if it can be used in a way to advance somebody's soul, but not be lazy, I guess that's
yeah,
my personal
yeah.
line in the sand. So
Yes, yeah. I just think it's going to be one of those things that we're just going to have to wait and see. But I
I
mean,
did. I,
we still use drum machines. We still use synthesizers
oh, yeah.
today. It's they don't. But I do regular pit gigs, and there's still a cellist. There's still violins.
Yeah, good on you. I love
So
that. I love hearing that. Yeah.
it's yeah.
I the
Hopefully,
other the other component is I wonder. I mean, already I've seen and heard tell of you know a little bit of AI burnout already. Like people can hear it, and it's like nah, you know.
yeah.
And I believe that there are some I want to say distribution companies like Bandcamp or
Mm,
I think it was Tidal
yeah.
said that they're no longer supporting anything AI. It has to be
I just written down Tidal. I was going to mention it because yeah, I
yeah,
saw the same thing. Like any AI music is going to be labeled as AI, and it's
labeled or not. Yeah, exactly.
and it's not going to generate any income or any revenue.
That's I think that's what it was with Tidal. Yeah, you're
Which
right. I
like that they seem to be making all the right moves, but
yeah,
I switched to Tidal at the start of the year. I was like, fuck it, I'll go
yeah,
and do
good,
Tidal, but
beautiful.
I couldn't get on with it, and I use it for gigs as well as like playback music for in between sets,
Right, right,
and the
right.
fucking thing just kept stopping. I
Uh,
was like, I can't use it. I can't
yeah,
use it.
no, if it's not
Stop.
dependable on a in a live environment or
Yeah.
oh no, that sucks.
So I hate to admit it, but I had to switch back to Spotify.
Yeah.
But it just works. But yeah,
Yeah, Spotify does work. I like a lot about it. We bailed on this on the pay version, and we've kind of because for the most part, Apple Music can do everything Spotify can do, but there's
yeah,
a few features of Spotify that I really really like.
yeah,
But we just have it on the free version now. It's no sense in paying twice for the same thing. So,
yeah, yeah. Um, let's talk about practicing. What does your practicing look like these days?
oh man, I don't have a regimen. Um, I drive my wife nuts when I'm grab my Stratocaster while we're watching a movie, and I'm like, so
Yeah,
I try to, you know, be somewhat considerate, sit on the far end of the couch, like
yeah.
that. But then, I have a Hammond B3 in my talent room over there. I practice that a lot. Just kind of open a fake book and just play sight read and play tunes and blow through that, and then. I do a lot of. I was a piano student of Terry Trotter, who I just love so much and has
Hmm.
influenced me so much. I do a lot of his just exercises
Yeah.
and like that. And then for the most part, I'm I mean I
Oh, sorry. I'm just
guess
gonna have to hold you.
sure
Hold on a second.
sure.
Sorry about that.
No
Children's
worries.
coming through the door.
No worries at all.
So yes, practicing, picking up a fake book, blowing through it.
Blowing through it on the B3 has kind of been my thing of late. Um, uh, a lot of my practicing, I do my exercises, which is a great warm up for me. Some of the stuff that I studied with Terry Trotter, and um, and then I mean, honestly, it's kind of learning songs for the next gig I have.
Mm,
A
yeah.
lot of that. Um, but yeah, I guess mostly just kind of working through standards and stuff. I work through a particular like types of voicings and whatnot. I often review the stuff I learned when I was studying with the guitarist Ted Green. Uh,
We'll
so
talk about that.
yeah,
Wait
yeah,
a second.
so I
Yeah.
mean,
So yeah, learning for the next gig. Like I just,
I don't have a I
it,
don't have a linear
yeah.
thing that I practice, but a lot of when I'm sitting around watching TV, it's just kind of maintenance or playing through difficult licks I have to do for a show or whatever, just getting them under my hands and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Um,
But it seems to again because I asked this question of everybody. There are very few people that say, "Oh, do you know what I do? I get up 9 o'clock. I have my coffee. I get my breakfast. Then at 9:30, I sit down. I do 30 minutes of alternate picking. I do now the 30 minutes of sweep
yeah,
picking. Then I jump on the drum kit and I put the click on 120, and I'm doing sixteenths on."
yeah,
Very few people do that. Very few people. Everybody seems to be like, do you know what? I just pick it up and I think, what do I want to? Do you know what? I did a gig last night, and that line over that B flat 13 chord sucks. So I was going to work on B flat 13 for an hour or what. And everyone just seems to like whatever's either coming up for shows, we got to work on that. Whatever
definitely,
I've just done, and I thought that needs work because that was terrible.
yeah,
That seems to be how everybody is working on improving themselves. Is either what's coming up or what they've just done.
yeah, yeah.
There are very few. I was expecting more people to be a bit more regimented. I'm not regimented at all. I'm
Well, I
very
think that's kind of I mean, I'm just guessing, but that's really like a, a music school student's game. I mean, I have a
yeah.
lot of other considerations. I'm trying to maintain myself on two different instruments. Um, uh, Sometimes I'll take a tune out of the fake book, and it's like, what if I play this in B, or like
Mm,
or just try something in a different key, or um, or like there's I think it was a something my son showed me, who's quite a jazz aficionado. He showed, like some quartal harmony exercise, and it's like,
mm,
oh, that's cool. Let me try that in 12 keys. So I'll do like
yeah.
just kind of voicing exercise, getting, because I love comping, I love rhythm, I love interesting harmony, I love little, you know, over a G7 chord in the band. I love, kind of. I'm always after the hot note, but without
Yeah.
being inappropriate for the
Yeah.
style or whatever. But or the cool voicing or whatever. I'm always searching for that. The cool cluster or the way to do it. What would
Mm,
normally be a straight 1 3 5 7 9 blah blah blah. I'm looking for the cool
yeah.
other way to voice it or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So
Now you mentioned exercises. Now I did like when I had Carl on. He's actually been on the show twice, and
uh,
both times he said, "I do not believe in exercises. You should
uh,
be playing anything that whatever you're practicing is should be stuff that you're using on stage or in the studio." So,
yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, my thoughts on that is when I use the word exercises, that's for my 90% for my keyboard playing.
Right.
And it's really to kind of keep my fingers limber and all of that. For guitar,
Mm,
I'm kind of in the Carl camp. I mean, I kind of work on my right hand stuff, and coordinating my hands, that kind of thing.
yeah.
But it's not a regimented, linear textbook thing. It's usually I'm trying to find new riffs and lines and interesting maybe string skipping kinds of things, and deciding whether the pick is up and down. Am I using alternate picking? Am I using economy picking? And so on and so forth. Am I using a hybrid of my pick and my fingers? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not a textbook um, exercise, so to speak. But like in piano, I mean, I remember from when I was studying years and years ago, just certain things at certain tempo, and now make it into 16th notes, and now thirds, and all of that. And it just keeps my wheels greased.
Yeah.
The harmony exercises that I do, I just kind of um, I find some sort of cool voicings or whatever, and then I like try that in 12 keys, move it up a scale, blah blah blah. Oh, hey, what's it like if I do this in a melodic minor scale mode or whatever, that kind of thing. So it's a lot of that,
Okay.
and it's a lot of playing tunes. Just kind of whatever
Yeah.
I'm in the mood for.
Yeah, that seems to be the way that most people
Yeah, yeah.
operate. So when you say like harmony exercises, if somebody wanted to work on improving their harmony, what's is there anything that you would suggest or you could give them?
Oh, that's a pretty broad question. Um, to work on their harmony, I would say give me a call.
Oh, good idea. And your number is
Because I could talk. I mean, I have a lot to say about it, and
okay.
it's teaching. My favorite, I digress a little bit, but my
Sure,
favorite
sure.
thing to do is to talk about harmony and theory as it applies to your instrument, and as it applies to let's say jazz, or really any kind of music. But it's if you look at like the fake book, the American Songbook, jazz standards and stuff like that, there's just so much to be always mined from that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my favorite thing to talk about.
Okay.
But if somebody wanted to study harmony, I mean, yeah, I mean, I would say, check out the Dick Grove method, particularly his Harmony 3 book about chords and chord family. I don't remember the name of the book, but I think it's the Harmony 3 book. That's the one that gave me the theory rocket fuel,
Yeah.
and um, gave me all of the answers, but the rest of my life to like work it in 12 keys and to apply
Yeah.
it, apply it to the fake book and the American Songbook, and you know all the
Mm.
applications. So
Yeah. Absolutely. So God, let's talk about Ted Green. What was it like to study with him?
oh, it was great. Ted was a savant,
Mm.
and he was just this wonderfully generous, kind, quirky, caring person. But he was quirky, and he had this little apartment in I think in the Encino area, and I'm not far from there. Anyway,
Mm.
the way that you got a lesson was if somebody canceled, you had to send a sub. And so
Right.
my friend Daryl Caraco, an amazing guitar player, and his son Jocko Caraco has done really, really well. Also, the
Hmm.
guitarist on the Kelly Clarkson show, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all of that. Anyway, Daryl recommended me, and he sent me as a sub. And when and I had this great lesson with Ted, and we just sit on the floor, and he's got all kinds of books and magazines everywhere, and he's just kind of this hippie dude that loved guitars and loved hot rod cars.
Yeah.
So we just watching him tune up and play a few chords was like the most beautiful thing
Mm.
I'd ever seen. It was like, oh my god! And he played with his fingers, and the guitar
Yeah.
kind of high, and I was like more of a pick hybrid person, but it didn't matter. It's just like, oh my god! So he just had this whole system of chords and his own language. Like Dick Grove had
Mm.
he had his own language, and I mean, my jaw was just on the floor. I mean, he could like just be playing a tune, holding a conversation while he's just doing all this gorgeous stuff that's just melting your heart. And then it's
Mm.
like, I'm bored playing in this key, modulate, keep on going, keep on talking.
Yeah.
I think the first lesson for me was when he taught me the Chet Atkins kind of harp harmonic
Mm.
technique. technique, and going through a major scale, doing these harmonic things that Lenny Breau and Chet Atkins were kind of famous for. Um, and then he too, in his own language and way, would just reinforce what I knew about what scale kind of goes over on what chord. Like, well, I'm always kind of confused about playing over a minor 7 flat 5 chords. Oh well,
Mm.
Locrian, or what kind of 2 on the chord do you want, or whatever, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just kind of working through chords and voicings mostly. I mean, he wasn't, as you know, he wasn't like a blistering lead player
Mm.
and everything, but he could just play songs just so beautifully and improvise in any style and say, oh, let's take a Beatles song and play it
Mm.
in a Baroque style or whatever. And so it was just kind of chatting about cool chords and harmony and
Mm.
some music history and things, and it was just lovely. And I mean, I had about, I don't know, 8 or 9 lessons, and then he passed.
Yeah.
So I was kind of the latter bunch,
Yeah. Yeah. I
students.
mean, I had Tim Lurch on a few years
Oh
ago,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
he had lessons with Ted, and he described him exactly the same way that you did. Like, just a
Oh
lovely guy, beautiful soul.
yeah,
What a player! And yeah,
yeah.
I think
I mean,
I've got a couple of Ted's books, and whenever you're like, my chords are a little rusty, I have to get the Ted
yeah,
Green book out
yeah,
because if
yeah,
you think you know chords, you don't until
yeah,
you've gone through this
yeah.
book.
Good point. I think his big one was called chord chemistry or
Chemistry,
whatever.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't even know if I ever had that book, but he was very, very encouraging and generous with me. We had a good time, So
Yeah, as
he
a teacher
wasn't like
should
a
be.
slap on the wrist kind of teacher. He wasn't that guy. He was just like, and I guess true confession. One thing that stands out a little bit, and it's like I told him, I said, I've always been jealous of guitar players who can break the knuckle of their pinky to play
Mm,
like bar chords. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, and I could
Okay.
never do it. And he goes, "Don't say that. Don't say you can't do it. It's just unfamiliar." And that
Mm,
kind of became like a mantra of other things in life for me. But
yeah.
he just said, put your hand on the guitar, like lay the guitar down, put your hand on the body of the guitar, and break your knuckle like that, and it'll happen. And I don't think I
Yeah.
still have it. I still need to play power chords like this rather than like
Okay.
this, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But,
It's
some people
yeah.
have that joint, they can do it, and
Yeah.
it's not me
Not
yet.
you. No.
Yeah,
I think.
it's
I
just
yeah. I mean. I think. Go on. Go on.
no. I was just saying it, like to quote him. It's just, it's not that you can't do it. It's just unfamiliar.
Yeah, I love that. It's
I know.
I had a student on Monday, and I was like we're just going through like E, D, and A, and it was
Yeah,
no C to D, and he just couldn't get his fingers
yeah.
because C to D is a weird change because all three fingers have to move,
Everybody
and
moves. Yep.
he was just getting really frustrated. I was like, look, man, it's new, it's difficult, there's no reason to get angry or upset, and I could see he was
Right.
getting upset. I was like,
Yeah.
look. I said, look, I play a lot of chess. I do a lot of kart racing. I suck at both. And I have to really work hard just to keep up with people who are mediocre. And he said, like, doesn't that upset you? I was like, no, because I've learned to really enjoy the journey
That's so
because
beautiful. That means that you are a treasure of a teacher. That's wonderful. I mean, I will tell you this. When I was back in school, I wrote the book on
Mm,
being hard on myself and comparing myself to
yeah.
others. I mean, if anybody watching, that is another huge thing about being a musician or in the arts and maybe
Mm.
anything else. But I made up a word, and the word is comparanoia.
Paranoia.
Comparanoia.
But
It's the
it's
death.
so difficult not to.
I know, but
Especially today when you're like you mentioned 12-year-old kids on Instagram. You're like, God damn it.
well, I mean, at which point that like solidified my thing. It's like, you know what,
Mm,
man, I am good at what I do. I'm fine. I have my own personal journey, my own story. I am me. I don't. I sound sort of like other people that influence me, but I
Yeah.
am me. I don't, good for them. The best thing you can do, young viewers
Mm.
who suffer from comparanoia, is cheer them on, lift
Yeah.
them up, be overjoyed for that 10-year-old that's like, breaking records and blowing the minds, the
Yeah.
Mateo Mancusos of the world and whatever. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I mean, just cheer them on and you continue on your path and you are awesome, and that's, you know,
Yeah. That's yeah.
otherwise
I
it'll
I
kill you. I mean,
it fucking will. Yeah.
yeah,
It will consume. Well, it
it will,
consumes
yeah,
parts
yeah,
of my day and life. But
unbelievably unhealthy on every level, so
yeah.
just keep doing what you're doing, and
Yeah. And what's your
you are
view?
enough.
Yes, you absolutely. And what's your view or your take on getting better?
On getting better, I think it's just about um well, first of all, not being of a cynical mindset. I mean, being an
Mm.
open mind, open heart, and gosh, listen to classical music, listen to you know dirty loops, listen to everything, and and just keep learning, keep trying to find new territory on your instrument and in your ears.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know that a lot of people feel like, from the time that they grew up to now, like, Billboard Hot 100 is in the trash,
Mm.
But no, there's great music out there. You got to keep digging for it and stay inspired.
Yeah.
Whatever your instrument is, listen to as many different people who play that instrument as you can, and or rhythmic styles or styles of music or whatever. Just keep digging, keep digging. Stay curious,
Yeah.
stay hungry. What are some other things that you didn't learn from your teacher to have how to blow over a major scale or a dominant altered chord or whatever? What else can you do?
Mm.
Um, yeah. Um,
Yeah. How about personally getting better?
as a human, you mean?
Oh, as a musician, we
Oh,
can talk about as a human if you want.
no. Well, I mean, what I just said is kind of my vibe. I mean, um, yeah. I mean, I like to. I wanna. I always want to be better than I was. Therefore, I practice.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, do you ever
Right
sit? Do
now.
you?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you ever sort of think, do you know what? I just really need my hybrid picking needs a little bit of work, so I'm just going to dig out a few Albert Lee things. And I'm going to work through some bits and pieces from him, or anything like along those lines, or is it
Yeah,
more kind of holistic?
sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I do, particularly with double picking, just kind of to keep my hands even more and more synchronized and stuff.
Mm.
And so that in that regard, yeah, sometimes I'll look on YouTube or whatever, which I wish I had when I was 17, 18,
Yeah,
but yeah, sometimes I'll get on YouTube and just kind of like see, okay, well, what does this guy have to say about,
yeah,
breaking speed barriers or
yeah,
whatever? And I really just, I'm always going to sound like me, but I always am looking for ways to improve my synchronization of my hands, or being able to to improve my technique, jumping different intervals and things like that. Jazz lines and things like that, which I like.
mm.
Funk rhythms, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
I don't need to play four strings. Maybe I could just like think on two strings or whatever.
yeah,
I mean, it's kind of common, but just yeah. Sometimes I'll go down rabbit holes and just like, what can I learn today? Like
yeah,
so.
yeah. It's a great thing. I mean, I think
Yeah,
like YouTube has been such a revelation
yeah. I mean,
when it
in the
comes to
whole
learning.
yeah, and circling back to what we were talking about before, it's like and the internet in general, it is what you make of it. I
Yeah.
mean, even Facebook and all that. It's just like, I want to use it for good. I want to use it for learning and improvement and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
main
Do you
thing
think?
is to just play, pick up your instrument every day. I mean, that's
Mm,
critical.
yeah.
Yeah,
Doing it every day.
every day.
Do you think there's something that is lost from YouTube? Because if you want the answers to a certain question, you need to know how a progression goes, or you just to play a simple tune. You can usually find a lesson on YouTube. And do you think people are less likely or inclined to try and figure it out by ear?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I guess my immediate response would be like, it is, if you find a good YouTube or a good TikTok or whatever, it's the next best thing, but perhaps not as good as being there with an instructor or
Mm,
in a classroom.
yeah.
Because you can rewind and this and that, but sometimes with a human being, you can go deeper. It's like, well, make little adjustments and
Mm-hmm.
talk about something deeper, or maybe go on a tangent that makes you improve even more.
Yeah.
But I'm really a big proponent of either a classroom or private instruction,
Mm.
especially private instruction. So,
Yes, me too. Yeah.
uh, and I think that a long haul of private instruction is arguably more valuable than you know a certain college education or what. I mean, for the
Yeah.
amount of money and the amount what you're getting back. I mean, and
Yeah.
you're, and not only that, you're getting all, when you study privately with a professional, you're not just getting the lesson on your instrument, you're getting all of the stories and
Mm.
all of the way to conduct yourself in a recording session and on a gig. And like, when I was on tour with so and so back in the such and such, you're
Yeah. Yeah.
getting all of this other juice that's just so invaluable as well. And you're not going to get that on a YouTube guitar lesson or a pedal demo or whatever,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
nothing wrong with,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying that I'm a big proponent of studying privately, and really, the enthusiastic student will dig and grind the teacher, and I
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I love it too. I took one of
And
my students.
most teachers enjoy talking, and going extra time with
Mm.
a student that is serious, about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Some kids I have to pull information out of them, and it's
yeah,
it's hard
yeah,
work. I mean,
yeah,
but then
yeah.
yeah, the ones that are a joy to teach. Like I took one of my students along on a sit-in a few months ago, and it was just like it's amazing.
You mean like
So
on a gig or a session or something,
it
or
was on a gig, so it was a pit gig.
wonderful,
So he came in, he sat down, he put the cans on, he had a little monitor mix. I gave him the score,
wonderful.
and he just
Yeah,
sat through and yeah,
I
I think there's not a lot of that going on.
yeah. When I
So,
was a kid, I knew somebody that worked at an ad agency,
yeah.
and it's like, hey, you know what? My company is doing an advertisement for Carl's Jr.
Mm.
at Evergreen Studios in Burbank, and Larry Carlton's going to be there. Do you want to go? And I'm like,
Fuck
oh
yeah.
my. And I'm like, 17, 16, something like that. And I got to go and sit next to him wearing my headphones, watching him read his part. I mean, I felt like I was on a cloud for a week. It
Wow.
was so wonderful. And, and it was just nothing special. It was, but just, you know,
Yeah.
it was incredible. It was just incredible inspirational juice. And it's like, I want to do that, so,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully that dropped a nugget of inspiration. I did say to him, "Do you want to look at some reading stuff?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah."
Yeah,
And
that's
he came
great.
back. He came back the next week. He's like, "Can we do Stairway to Heaven instead?" I was like, "All right, okay,
Okay.
we'll substitute." But
It's your money. Yeah.
yeah. Listen, anyway, Troy, I'm going to let you
But
get
that's
on with
great.
whatever you've got.
But you really blessed that person by giving them that experience, and kudos to them for wanting to be there.
Yeah,
That's
I
great.
hope so.
You you really, I'm sure that you had a big, what they call, a butterfly effect on that kid. So that's
We'll,
wonderful.
we'll see. We'll see. I hope so. But yeah, he's a
I'm
good
sure.
kid, and he's one of the one of the students, I've mentioned this before on here, that he came to me for his first lesson. I was like, this kid is, oh, Jesus Christ, no man. Couldn't stay in time, couldn't tap his foot to a beat, didn't really listen
Oh,
to music, but bless him, this kid showed up every single week. He practiced every single week. And after about 6 or 7 months, I'm like, all right, you can play. And I was like, and I messaged his mum. I was like, look, this rarely happens. Usually kids come in and if they struggle, they're gone. They're out the door. It's not for them. But
right.
he
But
struggled, but he kept coming back. I was like, look,
that's
whatever.
so. Oh my God, I love this story. That means that you helped him burn neural pathways to
Mm,
find his groove, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's wonderful. I
yeah.
love
And
hearing
I
that.
said to his mum, I said, whatever you do for like treats and rewards or anything like that, give him one.
Yeah,
Take him to the movies, take him to a theme park, something, because he's earned it.
yeah. He
Um,
broke his own 4-minute mile, so to speak. Yeah, that's great.
exactly, yeah. And
I
so
love
yeah, I now really just want to get him to groove. I'm like, we're gonna just do some funk stuff. We'll do some Doobie Brothers, maybe some Chet Atkins, Nile Rodgers, Red Hot Chili
Yeah,
Peppers.
yeah.
We're just gonna just nail that groove because that's the only thing that's lacking. Like everything
Right,
else is kind of good. You're like cowboy chords are good. You can
right.
kind of burn through a pentatonic scale, but it's just your groove. You just need to lock in with
And
sixteenths.
I would absolutely. Oh my gosh, I'm glad you're saying that. And I know we're running out of time, but
That's cool.
teaching time and groove
Mm,
and rhythm is probably the hardest thing because
yeah,
in that part almost has to be a gift from the beginning, which inspires the other stuff. But to teach that kind of in reverse and have a kid get it,
yeah,
I love hearing that. That's
yeah. It's cool.
amazing.
Yeah, I tell you what, I started doing. I did this. I'd never done this before. I can't remember the name of the famous session bass player,
Carol Kay.
Carol Kay. I saw her. I
Yeah.
saw a video of her playing a groove to a click, and the click was on the offbeat, and I was like, huh,
Oh,
that's odd. So I started driving around with a metronome going, trying to count with the click on the offbeat. So it's
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
and I was like, God, this is difficult. And I'm
Yeah.
struggling just to count it. And I was like, now I've got to try and play a groove with the click on the offbeat, and I keep slipping. I was like,
Yeah.
now I know what my kids feel like when I'm trying to get them to stay on the click.
You can do it. You can do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Just
But
think of.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love finding little exercises like that. But yeah,
Love that too. That's great.
that's cool.
Awesome.
Listen, Troy, I'm going to let you go. Whatever you've got going on for the rest of the day, I hope it's a good one.
Thank you. Now I'm rehearsing for I'm woodshedding some music that I'm doing that's a handful for
Mm.
a pit orchestra gig I have coming up
Oh,
for the
nice.
next
What,
week. Yeah, it's in
what's the show?
the show. I don't know if it's public information just yet. I don't know when this
Okay.
will air, but it's called The Beggar's Waltz, and
Okay.
I'm not sure even yet the story. It might be a take on the old story, The Beggar's Wife,
Okay.
like a new take on it, kind of a Hades Towny kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure, but I'm playing. I've done this a few times. I'm playing second keyboard, in other words, all the orchestra
Mm.
parts
Yeah.
with a main stage that's pre-programmed. So every time there's a big dot on the music,
Yeah.
I have to hit a pedal that'll switch the
Yeah.
sounds and stuff. And then I'm also playing second guitar, so I'm kind of whipping between two
Okay.
instruments.
Yeah.
A lot of reading and stuff. So I'm just kind of trying to get a grip on the music today and tomorrow. And
Oh, well,
first
good luck.
rehearsal is on Friday. So
Oh, well, good luck. Yeah. The
thank
first
you.
I did Oklahoma recently, and it was the first
Oh,
time
good.
I did a show where I had to play banjo. So I had to buy a banjo for it. So I tuned it
That's
up to a
good.
guitar. I was like, fuck it, I'm not learning banjo.
Oh no, get rid of the fifth string, four string.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
4 string banjo, tune it up to top 4 strings of a guitar, and off we
that's
go.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
done that
listen.
many times, and that's
Yeah.
literally the reason guys like us buy a banjo.
Exactly. Yeah.
The gig calls for it. It's like, okay, got to throw down.
I did, and I messaged the MD. I said, I've not done this show. Do you need a banjo player, or do you need a guitar to sound like a banjo? And he went, I need a guitar to sound like a banjo. I was like, cool, I got that.
Yeah,
I
it's
got
like
that down.
strummy riverboat kind of stuff. Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
great.
Anyway, listen, Troy, thanks
Good.
very much. Would you be able to send me a picture that you're happy for me to use on the thumbnail?
Yeah, I could do it. Yeah, I would say the one that's like my album cover was
Yeah,
probably
that's
the
cool.
most flattering, even though it's a few years old. But yeah,
That's cool.
yeah,
That's fine.
send it. Yeah.
That's fine.
So should I just send that returning your email for
Yeah,
this?
that's
Like I'll do that and just
yeah. Or drop it on Instagram, whatever's easier. Both
okay.
either work. Either works.
Okay,
Yeah.
can do totally.
All right, cool. Well, we will speak soon. Thanks very much for your
Okay,
time. I
and
really do
do you
appreciate
know
it.
when? Oh, my great pleasure. This was a blast and wonderful meeting you, and you're
You
terrific.
too.
When let me know when this will air or whatever, so I can
Yeah, it
follow.
probably won't be for maybe a week or two, but yeah, I will drop you a message when it goes out, and I'll tag you in some Instagram posts and stories and reels and stuff.
Great,
Cool.
can't wait.
Awesome. Do you have any plans coming over the UK with Carl?
Uh, I think this next we're on tour in a month with Carl, but I don't think we're UK. We're doing a couple of gigs in France, I think, and then
Yeah.
German, a lot in the Netherlands this time, and then
Okay.
Germany and some Italy.
Okay.
But
I did. Yeah, the last time I asked him, he said, "You know what? UK's weird. People keep asking me to go to the UK, so I book a gig, and nobody buys any tickets."
where
It's
where
like
are you exactly?
I'm South London.
South London, yeah.
Yeah.
My son and his wife are there now in
Mm.
they're in Nottingham,
Oh,
and
okay.
my son's wife's brother
Mm.
and his wife are like championship ultimate frisbee people, and so
Oh, right. Okay.
they're in some kind of thing in some kind of tournament or whatever in
Okay.
Nottingham. So they made a vacay of it,
All
So
right. Nice.
they're there now. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll keep an eye on it. If I can get a green card and you're in France, France is a
Oh
long
yeah.
train journey. But yeah,
Yeah, if you look on Carl's website, it'll say where we're playing and stuff.
yeah,
So,
cool.
but
Anyway,
yeah, keep in
yeah,
touch. If you're there,
will
I'd
do.
love to meet you. So
Yeah, likewise. All right, cool. We will speak soon.
great.
All right. Thanks, Troy. See
You
you
bet.
later. Bye bye.